What's up, Wizards? It's Dev, SPMT Breezy over there, and we are going to look at Selesnya Enchantress today, but with a bit of a twist, because I know that a lot of YouTubers have already covered this Selesnya Auras deck. Usually when you see this deck, you'll see something a bit like this. The basic plan in this deck is to use Selesnya Champion to get a bunch of card advantage. You get a Paradise Druid out, you put a Sentinel's Eyes on it, that gives it Vigilance, which means that it doesn't lose its Hexproof, and at that point, you can just make a huge Paradise Druid or another creature. There's a lot of cool things this deck does. Season of Growth and Selesnya Champion are amazing card draw engines, especially when they're on the battlefield together. And once the deck gets rolling and has open mana, it can do a lot of stuff. Plus, it's creatures like Never Die. It's got all Seed of Life's Bounty and Karametra's Blessing. To make sure that it keeps its creatures alive and stuff, keeps its battleship going. And Allseed can actually make a pretty good Bogle creature in and of itself because of the lifelink. There's also Transcendent Envoy in this deck, which could be Starfield Mystic if you wanted it to be, but there's a few things that I like about Envoy in this deck a little bit more than Starfield Mystic. Now, Transcendent Envoy is an enchantment in and of itself, which is awesome. You know, obviously Selesnya Champion won't draw a card off of Starfield Mystic. And I think that makes a huge difference, but it's also important to have a creature that naturally has flying on it in a deck like this. Whereas I think that Starfield Mystic is better cut out for the sort of Orzhov enchantment decks that play the removal auras. And that'll grow your Starfield Mystic much more reliably and faster. So I just felt like Transcendent Envoy was the better pick for this deck. But obviously All That Glitters is another super important card in this deck, as well as the Test and Training that not only draws cards, but also makes sure that your creatures have a form of reach. Not reach the ability, but just the ability to get through for combat damage. They have an evasive ability in Trample. There's also Warbriar Blessing, which doesn't show up in every deck, but it is a nice piece of removal, and I always like Banishing Light. But again, you've probably seen this deck a whole bunch of times already, to the point where I think it's kind of stale. So I did something, and it is, by the way, a really good budget deck. As far as budget decks go, this might be the best one in the format, but I've decided to do something a little bit different with my, Selesnya list. Because again, you've probably seen to hell and back, you've seen over and over the Auras list. So I've gone with an Enchantress list that's more enchantment based, plays more sagas and stuff like that. And we still have Selesnya Champion to draw a bunch of cards, but outside of that, we're doing all kinds of other stuff in this deck. We still have All Seed of Life's Bounty and All That Glitters, but in slightly lower numbers. All Seed doesn't have to protect a huge battleship type creature that we've loaded up with auras. Not as much in this deck. It is still important to have the ability to protect a creature with an All That Glitters on it, or maybe protect a Selesnya Champion, whatever. But mostly we're playing a much more mid-range, almost to the point of control kind of plan in this deck. We've got Birth of Melodis to kind of hold off the aggro decks in the early parts of the format, or the early parts of the game. We've got a couple of copies of Pacifism, not the best card in the deck, but you are always happy to have it against really low to the ground decks, mono red experiencing Resurgence. And even though this won't do anything about Torbrand, it'll keep it from attacking or blocking, but it will do a lot about a lot of creatures. I think that's the sentence I'm trying to form, but I don't want to play too many Pacifisms, but it is kind of a removal spell at a relatively cheap cost that also draws a card from Selesnya Champion, so sure. Banishing Light, great removal spell. Wolf Willow Haven, actually a decent piece of ramp and a cheap way to draw cards off of Selesnya Champion and keep drawing cards, because, you'll put Wolf Willow Haven on an untapped land that'll give you more mana to cast more stuff, so that comes up in an awful lot of games. But some of the better cards in this deck are the stuff higher up on the curve that Green-White Auras doesn't really get to play. We get to play Elspeth Conquers Death in this deck, which is just an amazing card. And sometimes this won't get something back from your graveyard when it pops off in the third chapter, which I'm trying to fix. I think that maybe, just maybe, a 1 or 2 of Gideon might be a spicy call for this deck, because it's a Planeswalker that you can get back with Elspeth. Maybe even a second copy of Calyx, because Calyx has been really good so far in this deck. It's just a card advantage piece, but it can also obviously be removal some of the time too, but it's kind of risky removal. But either way, Calyx has been pretty impressive, so I can see boosting it to 2 copies. But Archon is the whole reason why I wanted to build this deck the way I built it in the first place. Archon of Sun's Grace is a card you don't often see outside of maybe a 1 or 2 of in the Green-White Auras deck, and sometimes it'll show up in the sideboard because it's really good against aggro decks. And that's one of the reasons I wanted to play it in this deck as a 4 of. I wanted to make a more mid-range version of Enchantress to really make Archon a decent card, and so far it's proven to be really, really good once you do get it out. And if you can protect it, or at least, make sure that you untap with it on the battlefield at least once. This can seems just an amazing card. It fills the battlefield quickly, but it's also really good against mono red for a lot of reasons, you know. Even once they have their Tor brand out, this can block a 1/1 creature that's attacking in and not die, which can be really important. It can die to a shock if they have a Tor brand out, but if they don't have a Tor brand out, it doesn't die to shock or skewer the critics, and that can be really important some of the time too. So just a lot of good stuff about the stat line on this, and the lifelink is great against aggro as well. So I've just really liked Archon, and again, it's like the main reason I wanted to build the deck the way I did. But there's also a couple of copies of the first Heroine games, which I can't say has been impressive necessarily, but it has been a good card sometimes. When it draws you the cards, it's great. When it puts the 3+1/+1 counters on an Archon, that's great. But it's not always the best card in our deck, so it's just a 2 of right now. But that's pretty much everything, you know. It's obvious that we're just trying to go a little bit higher up on the curve, see how that works out. Maybe, you know, is playing a lower curve, or excuse me, is playing a higher curve in the deck worth the payoff of cards like Archon of Sun's Grace against like mono red decks and stuff. But I guess we'll see. I played a lot with this deck in the last like 2 days, trying to get it like in the exact right shape that I wanted it. Like Pacifism is a new addition. It wasn't always in the deck. Same thing with Heroine games. I was just playing this all yesterday, and I liked it enough that I wanted to keep it for the video and see how it performed in, you know, games today, and see how everyone felt about it. But this is my build of Green-White Enchantress, and one of the only reasons I did it this way is because I wanted to, you know, just do something a little bit different than what you've probably seen so far. But let's go ahead and get into the games and see if it performs as well as it has in the last couple of days. I hope that it does. All right, we got one. We're up against the Lich King here, which is a cool name. And I think this is okay. I don't necessarily love keeping a 2-lander, but we got Nessian Wanderer, which I didn't really talk much about in the pre-deck tech here. I think I might actually want to keep that. Nessian Wanderer into Wolfwillow Haven might actually be good. What I'd really like to do is Nessian Wanderer into Setessan Champion, but that doesn't actually draw us a land. But this is actually a really tough scry. But I actually think I want to keep it. I do. Because if we can get our Setessan Champion down, then Wolfwillow Haven becomes really good. So let's go ahead and Nessian Wanderer. And then if we don't get a land next turn, we can Wolfwillow Haven. That won't be so bad. That won't be so bad. Kind of wish we could get the land first and then Wolfwillow Haven. But what will happen is we'll Wolfwillow Haven and then get a land with Nessian Wanderer. Hopefully. Hey, they cast Lazav. They're on a Grixis Lazav list. We just covered this deck like a week ago. About a week ago. We did not get the land that we wanted this turn, which kind of sucks, but let's see if we can at least get on schedule for next turn. Sweet. Okay, let's get this Castle Ardenvale. Play it. And say go. We're getting set up, but it does take a minute to get set up sometimes with this deck. We can always just Banishing Light this Lazav next turn if things become a problem. What do we discard to Kroxa this turn if it happens? Nothing, I guess. We don't have to worry about that. We can also Calyx this turn, which might not be a bad play, but I really like Setessan Champion and Heroine games, although we should probably Setessan Champion first. I don't think Lazav is enough of a problem. Like, what might happen here is that next turn they play Kroxa, and then they turn Lazav into Kroxa and swing in, which would kind of suck. So I think I'm going to go ahead and take the safe, the quote-unquote safe line here. See if we get quenched or something. It could happen. Looks like they have something. Maybe they'll Mystical Dispute? Murderous Rider. Oh, okay, they just don't want us to get any more value. That's fine. So let's banish this Lazav. And then next turn, I guess we can Setessan Champion, start getting set up. They take the damage, so they can have 4 mana this turn. And Thought Erasure. I wonder what they take. Probably Setessan Champion, but they might take Calyx as well. Elspeth Conquers Death is a very good card, but maybe not against them, because they have Lazav and Kroxa, which we can't hit. So they take the Setessan Champion. If we Heroine games here, I imagine they probably have removal for the 1/1, and we don't get value off of the rest of the card. Which can be a bit of a problem. Maybe we just Calyx, force them to Murderous Rider or something, because Calyx is probably pretty safe to play right now. Let's take a Scry. The Temple of Plenty. It's a Plains. Let's try to get some gas. So we're just going to Calyx this turn. I wonder how safe Banishing Light is. I wonder if they have, like, Brazen Borrower or something. I think I should probably take the Banishing Light here, yeah. And say go. Alright. I think things are looking okay. If anything, like, drastic happens, we can Elspeth Conquers Death. Wish we had some way of messing with their yard, but I guess that's not really that much of a concern right now. Eat to Extinction the Calyx. It's not fine, but I guess it's okay for now. And drop a tap land. We get another Elspeth Conquers Death. I guess at this point, we can get the Tessin Champion back with Conquers, so that's with Conquers Bad Fur Day. So that's pretty cool. Let's go ahead and Heroing Games. And pray that this creature stays alive. If not, I'm not loving our position offensively, but we've got a lot of defensive tools in our hand, obviously. Alright, they're just going to Bone Crusher the 1/1. Blah, blah. And we get an Archon. Okay, so they have 3 cards in their hand. What I really want to be able to do with Archon is play an enchantment the same turn that it hits the battlefield, but also kind of sucks that this Archon doesn't have 4 power. I've run into this a few times. Like, obviously, Heroing Games is not going to be an impressive card in this game. But, you know, this is Grixis. They've just got removal. They just have removal. You know, there's Murderous Rider. I guess we have answers to all of these adventure creatures, so that's kind of cool. We have an answer to the eventual Nicol Bolas they may or may not have. An Atris. That's a good card. It's a very good card. Let's split it that way. Likely take the Crux. Yeah, they did. Okay. That would have been the 6th land for Liliana right there. Next turn. But we would have had Conquers for it, so that's kind of nice. I guess we probably have to remove this Atris, but I'm in no real hurry at the moment. But I guess we can go ahead and burn one of these. Because there are creatures in our yard that I really want to be able to get back. Real bad. We might also be able to keep them from playing a Nicol Bolas with the 2nd chapter. That might be cool. But I don't know. Do you have Crocs? They'll probably just, yeah, just run it out. You have enough cards in your yard? Not quite. Guess we have to get rid of a Conquers here. Well, let's get rid of a Banishing Light. I think. Like, I know Banishing Light can take care of Crocs when it eventually comes down. Could have taken care of Lazav, but I really did not expect that they would have Lazav. Alright, they have 2 cards left in their hand. They almost have enough to get Croxa back. Hey, there's a Banishing Light. That's pretty dope. That is pretty dang dope. Will Banishing Light this Lazav. Poor Lazav. Just keeps getting banished. Oh, you wanted to come back? No, we banished you. Get out of here. Three cards in opponent's hands. 6 mana available to them. Looking at Elspeth Conquers Death all hard. Knowing we're getting something back next turn. Here comes Murderous Rider. Here comes Murderous. And Bone Crusher Giant. Cool. Whatever. I really kind of want to get back this Archon and just, yeah, let's do that. It's Archon, give it +1/+1. Elspeth Conquers Death. Which, by the way, isn't a spell right now. It's an ETB trigger, so we don't take damage off a Bone Crusher. That's kind of nice. We got another land in our hand, but I'm not, like, in a hurry to play it right now. That was a pretty good turn. Yeah. There we go. I don't know what we're tricking our opponent into thinking we have by, not playing this Plains, but maybe they think we have something, a Karametra's Blessing or something. There's Nicol Bolas. Cool, cool. They don't know about this other Elspeth Conquers Death. Now we have something that we can discard. We don't have to because they decided to take out the Archon. Who can blame them? I guess that means we can just fly over on the Nicol next turn. That's fine. No blocks. That's fine. So we're going to get this Archon back soonish. We're going to bedeck the token. One, two, three, four, five, six, seven. Kind of sucks that we can't do... Well, actually we can. We have 8. Okay, cool. Alright, so let's conquer death. Take out this Nicol Bolas. You see how awesome Elspeth Conquers Death is, by the way? Like, it's maybe the best card in this deck. Let's get rid of this gold token. Thanks, Heroic Games. That's the best thing you've done so far. This game. Nice. Alright, hopefully we can hold on to this 1-1, get a 4-4 next turn. That would be very cool. But, you know, we're up against the deck that just plays like 20 removal spells. Yep, they're looking at it. Are you looking pretty hard over there, dog? You just going to swing in? Nope, they're going to enter the God Eternals. Woof. Okay. That's cool. We're getting back an Archon next turn, but we don't have any cards in our hand. Should we get back a Setessan Champion? Is that a thing we should do? We're not going to like draw any cards off of it. Let's see. We play Setessan Champion. Yeah, we still can't. Well, I guess we could, technically. If we want to take 2 damage, we could play Setessan Champion and still make a 1-1. So that's something. But I think I want Archon. With the +1/+1. So I can block this 4-4. I'm an idiot. I'm sitting here doing math that I don't have to do. Well, that's the first. It wasn't really a misplay because I think I still want Archon, but that's cool. We can still Castle Ardenvale this turn if we want to. Which I might want to because I don't know that I want a chance blocking this and then getting like shocked or something. Scorching Dragonfire, perhaps. Let's see what opponents got here. Still got 2 cards in their hand. They just refuse to go down on cards. One's a swamp. I got one more here. Bedevil. Jeez. Jesus Creasus. Can we please us? Just keep a creatus? Can we do it? Can we do it? Alright, we're going to go to 14 here. Let's make a token. It's alright, we're still very much in this game. Especially since we know, for a fact, they are dry on removal, but they are about to get back at Grixis if they got nothing better to do. Oh, we draw a land. Why do we draw a land? That's so bad. Alright, so, +1/+1. What? That's dumb. Aw. I thought the triggers would order correctly there, but I guess not. Really wanted to draw 2. Oof. Ow. Ooch. Hoochie. Yabba dabba. Alright. Well, Croaks is coming down. We're going to take a lot of damage this turn, it looks like. Or is Croaks coming down? Is that happening? It is. Resolve. That's 3 our way. You have enough to do it again? Just curious. Yeah, you do. Means we need yet another Banishing Light. Or another Elspeth Conquers Death. What are we on, 3 now? Yep. Hey, they're going to let us go. That's neat. That's just adorable. Alright, deck. Help us out. We get an All Seed. That's actually pretty decent right now. Let's get ourselves a 2/2. And then I think the right play is to get in, actually. I mean, if we get in, they'll just gain the life back with Murderous Riders next turn. But I would like to gain some life, right? I'd like to do that. Well, no attacks. I think that's holding off their team. We're actually effectively gaining more life by not lifelinking on attacks. I got a Fabled Passage. Let me know how you feel about that in the comments section, too. How you'd play this. I don't think the aggressive line is correct here. Pass it up. All right, they're coming in. They are coming in. All right, so let's make a token. They have enough to bring this Croxa back, and they'll immediately do it, too. They will immediately do it. So, yeah, we're going to get roped here. Pass it up. Block. Block. I'm trying to get a like a Banishing Light or something next turn. 4, 5, 6. Block. And then sacrifice all seed. Target this thing. Give it pro black. Force him to get the Croxa back. This will put us at 9, but that's technically a higher life total than we were at when we started the turn, so whatever. Here comes Croxa. As predicted. How many cards you got left? Just 1. So if we do draw like Banishing Light or something, it's not that. It's not that. All right, deck. You've got maybe one more good turn to get us something here. I wonder if they should just be attacking with everything. They probably should, honestly. Oh, we don't know what this card is. Ooh. They're going to go to attacks. Come in with Crocs. Alright, and they do attack with everything. Let's go ahead and make our Duderino. Okay. So the question this turn is, do we block right here? These two guys on Croxa. And then block with a 1/1. Block here. 6, 5, 4, 5, 6. We'll go to 8. The only problem is we'll lose all of our creatures. They'll still have 3 creatures on the battlefield. What I'm going to do here is I'm just going to block the 4/4 with the 4/5. Block Croxa with a 1/1. Double block a Murderous Rider. Let a Rider in. I think those are good blocks. They do have a card in their hand, so we are being a little risky here. Okay, we get in all the glitters. Okay. Ba-ba. Let's go ahead and throw that down. Whew! Whew! Okay. All right. You go and do something like this and totally redeem yourself. Pop! Boop! In. They're at 15. We are at 19. I wonder if I've been overzealous here, but we'll see, I guess. Castle Ardenvale might actually also win this game for us. Come on, Lich King. I'm rooting for you here. Let's have a good one. We have had a good one so far. They just get a Vantress, but that's actually a really good draw for them. Let's take a toke here. Make a token. I'm not actually taking a toke. Let's Croacher. Double block the Murderous Rider. This will probably come back to bite us in the butt. I'm doing it. I do not have removal for this Archon, so... We get... Oh! Okay, alright. Buddy. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Yeah, scoop it up, Lich King. That was a good one. That was a very good game. I wish I would have gotten a chance to tell you that. All right, we're up against Phrasmon here, and that's a cool name. And we've got all the Banishing Lights that we wanted last game, so that's kind of cool, I suppose. I don't love it. I just want to go on record as saying I don't love this hand, but we can Wolfhill Haven, we can get to these Banishing Lights, and maybe we can go into damage control. Oh, no. Well, Mountain, but they didn't do anything, and we got us a Tessin Champion, so things are looking up. There's a land that I want. There's the land that I want. Da-na-na-na-na-na. What are you going to do on turn 2, red player? Castle Embereth, we're in for it. We are in for it, but they're getting a pretty slow start. They're just going to shock us. And then maybe light up the stage? Yeah, they do exactly that. A Perforoses Intervention and a Runaway Steamkin. Okay, so we definitely know what this first Banishing Light is going to go on. Perforoses Intervention. Interesting. Third land is a Castle Embereth. I wonder if that means they're out of mountains. I wonder if they're done playing lands. Run away! Run away from the bay! And you're going to get a counter on it this turn? I'm going to do it. And it. You're going to shock us. No, they're just going to intervention. So they can cast a red spell. It's fine. Perfectly acceptable. They're not going to get any other value out of it. So, yeah. Let's see. We tip a garden. Banishing Light. We can do nothing else. So that's cool. We could always Setessan Champion this turn. And then take a shot. That's fine. No, that's the fool's way of thinking. I want to get this runaway off the table quickly. Although I don't know, right? I mean, I'm gonna struggle with that decision because we play this Setessan Champion, it survives. We can start getting out in front real quick. There's a Krenko. So see now, again, I feel compelled to play a Banishing Light, and we're missing out on card advantage from the Setessan Champion. But I guess if we hadn't have lighted last turn, they would have a 3/3 and a Krenko. So I'm gonna spend these Banishing Lights. I really wish we were getting card advantage off them, but I guess there's peace of mind. I mean, there's no way they're gonna deal with these Banishing Lights in this matchup. What's next? Chandra Spitfire. You see, I feel compelled to play these removal spells. At this point, though, even if they Cavalcade, we're just taking 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. We could take 9. If they Cavalcade, shock us, we could end up going to 9 here, which I'm not thrilled about. I really wish we could Wanderer Banishing Light. I really wish we could do that. Yeah, sorry, opponent. I guess what we can do... I want to save the Wolfwillow Haven. Alright, I'm going to Banishing Light. I think we can wait a turn. I honestly think we probably could wait a turn on that. Krenko. See, that's that could present an issue. But let's, gosh. Really want another land here. We could always, Nessian Wanderer, Wolfwillow Haven, which I thought about doing last turn, but, Setessan Champion. See if they kill it. Really didn't expect our opponent to be playing 3-drops.deck. Expected, a 1-drop here or there. There's a Torbrand. Good lord, they just got all the crazy mono red cards. No blocks. We'll take 4. That's so bad, y'all. Ugh. It's so bad. Nessian Wanderer. Heroin Games. No attacks. Say go. This is such a painful game. I wonder how much we would have been able to jump out in front if we'd have played a Setessan Champion early. Hard to say. Because they'd have even more board presence if we hadn't Banishing Light, right? So it's a tough call. I mean, I think in most games this might be the right play line, but in most games they wouldn't have, best 3-drop in the deck, best 3-drop in the deck, other best 3-drop in the deck, best 4-drop in the deck. That's really very fortunate for them. Alright, we're taking damage. They're not getting in with Torbrand. I'm not sure why. We're tapped out. Alright. So let's just block here. Take 6. Do we need any more value off of Wanderer? We're done. This game's over. Like, even if we get Elspeth Conquers Death, I don't love our chances here. They're just gonna get all the value out of Krinko. We light up the stage. All that glitters. See, like, that would have been a good card if we'd have been able to get out on the board with Selesnya Champion, Wolfwillow Haven, all that. You know, Selesnya Champion into cheap enchantments. That would have been really nice, but alas, let's good game the opponent and get on out. Why don't more people play Krinko in the mono red deck? All right, we're up against Chili Phoenix. I really love that name, and we've got a decent hand here. I guess we get another pass at a rowing game, see if that's any decent or any good. Really depends on what the opponent's doing over there. But if the opponent is playing creatures, we got answers. Temple of Plenty. Woof. I do want a 4th land, don't get me wrong, but I'm going to scry to the bottom. We got enough lands for now. They go Temple of Plenty to start things off. Maybe we're playing against Green White Auras, which is honestly, ironically, not a great matchup for us. Maybe I should have kept the Temple of Plenty. I wouldn't mind a scry this turn, all things considered. And now we really need 4 mana to get to these guys. Alright, they go Nessie and Wanderer. Oh boy! Okay, Chili Phoenix. Are we doing it? Are we doing it? Alright. Rowing games. Get a token. Which is hopefully safe. Could like Banishing Light it. I'm going to read Rowing games here. Apparently they did not play it in their Green-White Enchantress. Oh, it's Bant. Okay, cool. Banishing Light. That's so bad. I don't like it. Well, that's okay. Waste your Banishing Light on Rowing games. We'll get Archon next turn. Sure. Whatever. That's fine. Archon. No attacks. Hopefully they don't have another Banishing Light. They might. They might. I guess we can always Banishing Light their Banishing Light. Here's an Elite Guard Mage. Or are you playing some sort of Thassa thing? It's possible. Alright. So at this point, could Calyx. But what I like doing is getting lots and lots of value. So what we're going to do is Banishing Light their Banishing Light. You see? Yeah. And then we're going to Pacifism this Elite Guard Mage. Which might come back to bite us. Like, if they Thassa, that's going to be an issue, but whatever. Get in for 3. And we made a whole bunch of tokens. A whole mess of tokens this turn. They do Thassa. That's exactly what we were worried about. 100%. It's actually not such a big deal. Like, next turn we can Calyx. And, tie the removal ability to this Banishing Light, which again, it's really dangerous, but I guess it looks like we kind of have to. Let's boop. Make this lifelinker a 6/7. Calyx. Use the Banishing Light to Banishing Light this Thassa. Eventually I'm going to Banishing Light to Banishing Light a Banishing Light. And then our life will be complete. And then we'll swing in with a whole bunch of dudes. And yes, I know. I'm just trying to stack up damage. Put him at 8. And Nessie and Wanderer. Alright. And if they don't remove Archon this turn, then we get 2 cards. They're going to Archon. which I'm not super worried about, but I am a little worried about. Okay, they decide that they do want to play a Hallowed Fountain untapped. That's neat. Still have 4 cards in their hand, which is a lot of cards. Elspeth conquers death. Yes, ma'am. Oh, and a Selesnya champion. Oh my god, it's just so delicious. What I really wish is that we had enough mana to Elspeth conquers death with quench backup. You know, like just in case they have a quench, I mean to say. I'm gonna +1 this Calyx. There's another Elspeth conquers death. So let's try and do it and see what they do. They will omen. Okay, sweet. Make a 2/2. That's fine. It's all good. All gravy. Let's go ahead and get rid of this Archon forever. Make a 2/2 of our own. Get a land. Just, value. Oh my, oof. Whew. Gosh darn do I love value. And hey, if you want some more value, how about we Birth of Melodius? How about we get all of that value? We get a Fabled Passage, and we get a Plains, and we get a 2/2. Oh, whew. See, that's one of the things I really like about this deck. Okay, so we get through with Sun's Grace. They have to block, probably with the 2/2. They block here. And they take 2, 3 if they block, say, the token with this. So they take 3, they go to 3. And they lose nearly their entire board. They get to keep Archman. I guess maybe we'll just do this. I'm coming with everything. I'm doing it. I'm going crazy. We're going to freak them out with our massive aggression. They block correctly. They go to 3. And we have an Elspeth Conquers Death and a Selesnya champion. So let's see what our opponent's up to this turn with their 5 cards. And a fair amount of mana. It looks like they cannot Agent of Treachery this turn, which I was really, really worried about. So cool. But hey, don't count them out. You never know. You really don't know. 4 mana left. What if they sweep the board this turn? Well, they scoop it up. They scoop it up. Good game, Chili. Good game, Chili. Alright, we're in against Turambar 87. And if our opponent is aggressive, we have a decent start with the 2 Birth of Melodius. Otherwise, it's not a great start. Okay, well, Scorch Spitter, so we'll see if we can ride the lightning here. And hold off against Red. That got to go first, too. That's a problem. Robber of the Rich. Oh, jeez. Alright, we're at 16. 12 next turn. That hurts. That really does. Okay. Whoops. Yikes, yikes, yikes. Well, let's Wolf Willowhaven, actually. Let's do that. Next turn we can drop a Forest and Archon. Hopefully, the theory will prove true. Phoenix of Ash, my goodness. We're going to 10 this turn, everybody. Yikes. Mono Red is just such a beast. Okay. So, let's Archon. Hopefully they can't kill it somehow. Torbrand would just be our game. Don't have it. They have it. God, Mono Red! It just always has everything it needs. Okay. Okay, so we're at 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0, -1. Back up to 2. We still, it's still so hard. It's going to be hard to win this game. Wow, jeez. Okay. All right. We're at 2. Elspeth conquers death. Torbrand, for Christ's sake. Get out of here. Oh, boy. Okay. Oh, let's go. All right, so cool. They didn't have to scoop. Maybe they did. Maybe they just don't have anything else whatsoever. Oh my goodness. Okay, so I guess we beat Mono Red, and they went first. We were barely able to hold on in that one. Oh, cheesy, crazy. So those were games. I hope that last game sort of proved my point about the Mono Red matchup and Archon of Sun's Grace, but I'm not sure that it really did, honestly. But maybe it did because they got the absolute best start they could ever hope for, and they got to go first, and we still were able to hold on there. So maybe they tilted a little bit at the end, and they could have done something, but... Hi, that's a good feeling. It's a good feeling to finish things off. So that was Selesnya Enchantress, not Selesnya Auras, but Selesnya Enchantress. Plays a little bit more mid-rangey, slightly more control-y game. And if I learned anything from those games, and again, this is the third day that I've played the deck. In the last couple of days, I've been playing for hours at a time, mostly with this deck. But if there's anything I learned, it's that I don't know that this is a good card. The first hero in games, I want it to be, and I think that there are some matchups where it definitely shines. And it did some cool stuff. Like the gold token was actually worth it, but we didn't draw any cards. Well, actually, I think we drew once off of this. In all of those games, we drew once off of this. And I will say it did put 3 counters on an Archon of Sun's Grace, and that made a huge difference in that game. So maybe I'm still shortchanging it, and I'm not seeing all the things that it did for us, clearly. But I'm a little bit iffy about it. I'm also still iffy on the pacifism, but I do think that we need, an early game removal piece, and maybe Glass Casket would be a good idea because it still procs, or it still works with all the glitters, but it doesn't proc, Archon or Setessan Champion, so I think pacifism might be better. There's also Heliod's Judgment, but I don't think that's, as crazy it is to say, I don't think that's better than pacifism because we don't close the door fast enough in most games for Heliod's Judgment to be good enough, but... In any case, that was the deck. Maybe more All-Seed. Maybe one more All-Seed. Maybe one less Wolf Willowhaven. It wasn't that impressive today. Although, in that last game, it got us to, turn 3 Archon, which is exactly what I wanted to do in the Mono Red matchup. So again, I might be shortchanging this card too. A lot of our cards actually worked fairly well. I just want to work in a second copy of Calyx. We saw it be an all-star in one game today, so... Just let me know what you do with the deck down there. Make sure you like the video, share it around, so all the people get in on the brand new, the real green-white Enchantress tech that everyone's been hiding from you so far. Also, make sure that you click the link in the description to go over to TCG Player, check out the deck list. I think this might actually be a real performer at F&M, and with some adjustments, this might actually be like an actual real tier 2.5 deck. But in any case, I think with some adjustments, this could be really good, especially if Mono Red is a real deck. I think that you got a pretty decent chance against that deck in the first game. So I definitely think that there's a lot to this, and it's, a deck that I've really enjoyed playing over the last few days. So if you're interested in it, click the link in the description, pick it up on TCG Player. And, do the Patreon stuff if you want to vote on what decks we do around here, which is how this deck got, gameplay in the first place. Then just hit the link in the description or go to patreon.com/SBMTG. Throw in $1. It's really all I ask for every month. $1 a month will let you vote on what decks we do. But aside from that, I guess I'm pretty much done here. I just want to hear from you. Let me know how you feel about the deck, how we played, any misplays, point them out. As usual, I'm not the best Magic player in the world. I'm sorry, but none of us are, right? So, especially content creators, we're worried about entertaining and, really thinking out our thought process, which sometimes, gives us tunnel vision or this sort of fishbowl mentality. We don't see the entire table on occasions. So again, just point out anything that I did egregiously wrong in this video, and I will catch you cats later. New Patreon poll tonight, so look forward to that. And do all the YouTube stuff. Anyway, I guess I'm done. Spread love and be kind, everybody.